Hi. Sorry. Start time. Hi. So I'm certain that I haven't met all of you yet. So I'm Ben, and I just want to start my speech with a real quick question, so I can get your attention. Perhaps I can get most, if not all, of your attention. So anyone here ride bikes? Like ride bicycles? Just anyone? Oh, cool. That's a lot of people actually. So maybe for the rest of you, I can maybe change your mind a bit. So, I think a bike is a very interesting machine. You think about what it's composed of. It's a frame. It's just a flat frame and, slap some wheels on there and a drivetrain. And you can get from here to Panama if you wanted to. And what's interesting is that the drivetrain is, it's a very simple mechanism. It's got the crankset, it's got a chain, and it's made of a cog. You guys are probably like, what's this dude talking about? Right? And I'll explain later. So, hopefully through my speech, I can hopefully open your minds a bit. I want to talk about maybe the cultures some bicycle cultures that exist, like BMX culture. They all dress a certain way, they all like do tricks, that's a culture itself. And, I want to get some main ideas across. So, at first, I want to maybe talk about how the bicycle influenced some of the very important technologies that we have today. Like, it acts as a template for engineers to make all these things capable for us. And, I'll get to the fun stuff, like the cultures. So, to answer the question, what cultural symbolism does a bicycle have? It's kind of hard to say, because, you think about it, I can tell you that a white picket fence, a house with a white picket fence, and a blonde-haired, blue-eyed family is like the American dream back in the 1950s among Caucasian people. But, for a bicycle, there's not one thing that every cyclist agrees upon. Like, to me, it could mean freedom. It's a very liberating thing. I think it represents a very big cultural impact in the future, because there's a lot of environmentalists out there trying to push the bicycle out there, trying to push production for the bicycle out there. I mean, that's a very selfless act, and I appreciate that. So let me get going. So, are you guys familiar with the Wright brothers? The guys, people like assume they created the airplane, they invented the airplane. Well, that's not entirely true, but they did invent the airplane. They did invent a way to control the airplane. So before them, it was just all these bright minds. They were flying up, getting altitude. They land, but they land hard, and it's unfortunate we lose a lot of smart people. So the Wright brothers, it's interesting because they were bicycle mechanics. They manufactured bicycles. They had a bicycle shop. I think they still make people still make their bicycles today. It's pretty awesome. They were very knowledgeable people with how bicycles work. So what they did was they applied the idea of how the bicycle worked to create a way to control flight. So it's very simple. I'll show you right now. So what happens is, you guys ever like roll a bike and you guys just take your hands off because you guys want to be cool? I don't know. And then you don't fall, right? You keep balance on either side. As long as you control your velocity, you gain balance by applying pressure on either side. So you don't go. So that applies to how airplanes work. So how they steer airplanes back then. Like today we have flaps that go like this. Back then it's all fixed. The wings go like this. Today on the wings they have flaps and they go like this. So that's how you steer the airplane. But back then it was, they had the idea to do this. Like, if you apply pressure to the right, you steer right. You apply pressure to the left, you steer left. And you apply pressure on either side to keep going. That's exactly how a bike works. So so I guess piloting a plane is really riding a bike in the air. And I find that very interesting. So now you see how a bicycle really pioneered its way through a lot of different types of technology. I just mentioned an airplane, but the drivetrain, every car has a train, you know, like it's the bicycle simplified it. So can I use the board? There's no marker or something. Can I borrow that marker? So I'll give a real quick explanation. So here's a crankset. You know, it's got teeth on it, and here's a cog. And the chain is just like this. I mean, if you see a bicycle, it's pretty obvious. The chain just right here, you know, and the pedals are right here. So you know, you step on your pedal, you apply force, and the force transferred to the crankset, and then the chain transfer the power to the cog, and that's where the wheel is, and that's how you move the wheel. That's how simple it is. And a lot of fixed gear bikes are like this. Like you've seen like fixed gear bikes, the pedals move but the wheel move. And that's why I'm gonna lead up to the cultural stuff. So there's a lot of different cultures surrounding a bicycle. Like maybe two that I caught interest in is maybe like race bikes and track bikes. So like race bikes, there's a lot of cultures within bikes, like not just one culture. So race bikes, you know, like a lot of older people like to ride race bikes for some reason, like road bikes. You know, they buy like $2,000 bikes and they like to climb hills. They wear those tights, and yeah, and they like to wear shades. Yeah, I've seen those around a lot. And there's also there's Tour de France. Like Tour de France is a sport, so it's a culture, right? You know, like Tour de France is an annual competition.
All right, time.